In 2023, I picked up 45 new coaster credits to bring my total up to 645. It's my lowest total since 2017, which shows how difficult it can be to get new credits once you get this high, unless you go overseas, which I haven't had the chance to do yet. What will be most shocking in this list is that I am probably the only American to reach 600 coaster credits, with only one of those coming from Disney World. I finally picked up the rest of those credits in 2023, so this list will double as a countdown for those. But first, I have 3 dishonorable mentions that are worth noting because they were disappointing, they all feature new trains in place of better old ones, and they are all new for 2023 coasters. First up is Wild Mouse at Cedar Point. Instead of the spinning mouse cars featuring curved seating and comfortable lap bars, these have straight across seating and restraints that push against the center of your chest. That caused me tremendous pain, and I literally thought it injured my back permanently. Fortunately, it was just a strain, but I can't risk riding this ever again, and it makes my bottom 10 coasters of all time. For the next 2 dishonorable mentions, I don't dislike them, and I will ride them again, but they were disappointing. Zambezi Zinger at Worlds of Fun has much worse GCI Infinity Flyer trains that have uncomfortable seating and restraints that will staple you no matter what you do. The ride is also very rough on the wood sections, plus there's basically no airtime to make the roughness worth it. It's too rough and aggressive to be a family coaster, but it doesn't really do anything to make it a thrill coaster either. It's neck and neck with Roar for my least favorite GCI. My final dishonorable mention is Pipeline the Nut Crusher at SeaWorld Orlando. Unlike the old stand-up trains, which would lock the restraints in place, allowing you to get the perch down low, Pipeline seats bounce during the ride. I worried that this would cause us to be lifted by our crotch on the airtime. Fortunately, that doesn't happen. However, when you land, your crotch will slam down hard on the perch. And don't even think of kicking your feet out. If you do, you will get a violent smashing of the boys on the landing. You can guard against the nut crushing by putting your hands on the armrests and pointing your toes, putting the pressure of the landings onto your hands and toes. But you must be vigilant at all times. The vests, however, there's nothing you can do to save your collarbone. B&M vest restraints are usually awesome, but these are horrible. Your collarbone will be in pain. Also, it's brand new and already one of the roughest B&Ms ever made. However, the airtime is pretty cool, and I always enjoyed the unique aspect of standing during a ride. But let's get into the good stuff now. I expanded my list to 21 in order to mention Seven Dwarfs Mine Train at Disney's Magic Kingdom. It's a very tame ride, but the visuals and theming are cool. Number 20 is Flying Viking at Adventureland in Iowa, the Magic Kingdom copycat. This is a very enjoyable Zamperla family coaster wrapping around the log flume. It is smooth, re-rideable, and a lot of fun. Number 19 is Wild Mouse at Arnold's Park in Iowa. This is an old school and far more aggressive Wild Mouse by Alan Herschel that used to operate at my former home park of Bells in Tulsa, and I finally got to ride it. This is so janky and I love it. Number 18 is Water Jump at Cedar Valley's amusement park in the middle of nowhere, Michigan. This only has one element, but it's an amazing one. The track ends and you literally fly off the end of the track into the air before landing in a pool of water. The landing is a bit jarring, but it's a very unique experience that you can't get anywhere else on this side of the planet. Number 17 is Toonbeely, the SNS free spin at King's Dominion. This is a smaller version than the ones at Six Flags, but it seems to ride better and provide more flipping. Number 16 is Legend, the 1930 Woody at Arnold's Park in Iowa. There's not much airtime, but they have maintained this so well to have it running very smooth, and it's got great visuals throughout, especially with the lake nearby. Number 15 is Loop Roller Coaster at C.J. Barrymore's in the Detroit area. This has great airtime on the drop in the back car, and the loop is quite forceful. Just keep your head forward to avoid headbanging. Number 14 is Slinky Dog Dash at Disney's Hollywood Studios. I knew this was a mild ride going in, and I ended up enjoying this far more than I thought I would. The second launch starts off slow, but it has some force to it by the end, and the visuals are excellent, especially if you get a sunset or night ride. Number 13 is Expedition Everest at Disney's Animal Kingdom. I expected a lot more from this. I didn't know how poorly paced this was, with all the stopping and slow parts, and the backwards part did nothing. The drop later in the ride picks up some speed, and the visuals are really cool going around and through the mountain, but ultimately it's only slightly more forceful than Slinky Dog Dash. Number 12 is Aquaman Power Wave, the new for 2023 Mock Power Splash at Six Flags Over Texas. I enjoyed this far more than I thought I would. Every row will get some decent airtime, especially the back. The launches aren't that powerful, but both spikes are great, and even though I don't usually like getting wet at a dry park, I was prepared for it on its opening day, and I had a great time. Number 11 is Dark Coaster at Busch Gardens, Williamsburg. This is a new for 2023 Intamin indoor family multi-launch coaster. The theming during the ride is cool, and it's a good layout for a family coaster, but the line gets stupid long really quick. Ride this at rope drop. Number 10 is Cosmic Rewind, the Vekoma launch coaster at Disney's Epcot. This has a good backwards-facing launch, but beyond that, it is a totally forceless ride. No airtime or laterals, but the visuals are cool, and the gimmick of the rotating seats is cool. The story is hard to follow because they are blasting out cheesy music that doesn't even make sense with what we're doing. At least it doesn't make sense to someone who has never seen Guardians of the Galaxy. Those movies don't seem to be something that I would enjoy, but if you like them, you'll probably like this ride a lot more than me. Number 9 is Tron Light Cycle Run, the new for 2023 Vekoma launch coaster at Disney's Magic Kingdom. For me, this was an easy call that I like this more than Cosmic Rewind. I also haven't seen Tron, but that doesn't matter with this one. The music during the ride actually makes sense with what we're doing. Plus, the motorbike riding position is so unique and so cool. I love that about it. It's the best launch of any Disney World coaster, and even though it also has no airtime, it feels faster and more aggressive than Cosmic Rewind. We're staying at Magic Kingdom for number 8, which is Big Thunder Mountain Railroad. Yes, I had never ridden this until a few months ago. I love all the rock work and theming throughout. It's a very long ride, plus there is some great and sneaky airtime throughout. It's not as fast as their newer coasters, but I think it's still better. And we're again staying at Magic Kingdom for number 7, which is Space Mountain. I rode one side of this when I was 12 years old, but in 2023 I rode both sides. So this spot goes to whichever side I didn't ride when I was 12. I hated aggressive rides as a kid, so I can see why I hated this then, but now I totally love it. It has some very shocking and incredible airtime. It feels like it's so much faster than it actually is. It's very aggressive and intense, and it's a very long ride. Number 6 is Rock 'n' Roller Coaster, the Vekoma launch coaster at Disney's Hollywood Studios. This is my favorite Disney coaster in America, maybe because I'm a huge Aerosmith fan, but also because of how intense it is. I love that launch and how it keeps the intensity up throughout the ride, and I love the visuals during the ride. If this wasn't Aerosmith themed, this would probably drop below Space Mountain, maybe even as far as below Tron. Number 5 is Big Bear Mountain, the new for 2023 Vekoma family launch coaster at Dollywood. This was one of my biggest surprises of the year. I totally love this one. It's a very long ride, great pacing, glossy smooth, great onboard audio, plus there's plenty of sneaky airtime throughout. It's not anything like crazy ejector airtime, it's quick pops of floater, which is perfect for a family coaster. Number 4 is Dragon Slayer at Adventureland in Iowa. What am I doing putting an SNS free spin this high on the list? But it is that amazing. This again is a smaller one, but it's so much crazier than all the others. It flips like crazy, which actually makes it a more comfortable ride, in addition to it being more insane. I couldn't get enough of this, and it was my biggest surprise of the year. Now we're getting to truly elite territory, and while these coasters clearly headline the park they're at, they are good enough to headline many larger parks in the country. And I kept going back and forth on these next two, as they are very close. Number 3 is Matugani, the Intamin hydraulic launch coaster at Lost Island in Iowa. It is relocated, but it is new for 2023. The launch may only reach 46 miles an hour, but it is very powerful, as most hydraulic launches are, and a short but complete layout follows, with 2 hang-time-filled inversions, several incredible airtime moments, and fast-paced transitions. An argument can be made for this to be the best hydraulic launch coaster in the country. Number 2 is Zippin' Pippin', the Gravity Group Woody at Bay Beach in Green Bay, Wisconsin. This doesn't have the variety of Matugani, but it does have great airtime throughout its layout, and it's got a great setting right next to the bay. It's a smooth ride in most rows, but the best seats are the more bouncy wheel seats. Row 3 or the very back are the best. After experiencing great airtime throughout the ride, you then hit that insane ejector death hill, which is best in row 3. That ejector death hill in row 3 is my all-time favorite element on any roller coaster. Without that element, this is probably still a top 75 coaster for me, but with it, it's a top 50. But my number 1 new credit for the year was an easy pick. It is Airy Force 1, the new for 2023 RMC at Fun Spot Atlanta. It's crazy that a park that gets such low attendance would build one of the best roller coasters in the world. The speed, the smoothness, the insane ejector airtime, the perfect floater from the best zero-G stall in the country, the variety of elements, the use of the arcade building, the fast-paced transitions from one element to the next, the violent quad down at the end, and having no line at all, even on a Saturday, allowing you to ride this as much as you can handle. I cannot think of a single negative thing to say about this coaster. It isn't a long ride, but it also doesn't feel short. Is this my new #1 coaster? Well, that answer will have to wait until I release my favorite coasters list in a few weeks. So let me know in the comments what your favorite new coaster credits were that you picked up in 2023. I imagine that Airy Force 1 or Wildcats Revenge will top many lists, and I hope to get on Wildcats Revenge in 2024. Thank you for watching, and I'll see you next time.